We all have to eat. You might as well find out where the best food is. From restaurant reviews to the fun of food from around the region to around the world. This is The Food Show with Andrew Coppolino on 570 News.
What are you doing? I've never heard this before. Well, there we go. This is The Food Show, but I don't know what that was. It's just random tunes. What is the name of that song?
I don't know.
What is it?
I don't know.
The Turkey and the Straw.
Oh,
The Turkey and the
that's
Straw, of
perfect
course.
then.
Yeah. Welcome to The Food Show. What a wild and wacky beginning. I think it's because it's the Oktoberfest version of the show, where things are just outlandish and crazy. This is Andrew Coppolino, and I'm glad that you're joining us here today for some, kind of a mayhem beginning to the show, but we're really glad to have you along. It's a beautiful day. We're right in the beginning of Oktoberfest. If you're on the internet, you can go to 570news.com and look for the webcast button. I'm waving to you, and you can take a look at what we look like here in studio. Now, joining me in studio is somebody that hasn't been here for a little while, but she's always it's always great to have her alongside. It's companion, dining companion.
Hello, Andrew.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Turkey and the Straw.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I knew there was something, like I was thinking chicken in the bread pan, picking out dough.
Yeah,
Is that part of the
I don't
lyric?
think
I don't know.
so.
But you see, that's what it got caught in my head.
I think I was thinking the same
yeah,
thing.
did you? Yeah. Okay, Turkey and the Straw. It was a great little tune. Thanks to our operator for running that.
Yeah.
Sort of as a surprise to me, though. How are you doing?
I'm very well.
Now, is Oktoberfest a big thing for you? I mean, some people, really celebrate Oktoberfest. There's great food stuff that's happening as well as other events. Is it a sort of a high mark for you?
I don't necessarily go out to a whole lot of October. I was at Blooming Fair the other night and popped into the Iron Chef event that was going on at the same time.
Did you see me there? Because
I
was
did
there.
see you there.
Yeah.
Yes.
How did I look?
Very handsome in your tux.
I have a tuxedo.
Yes.
Penguin.
Slaughtered with
Looked like
food,
a penguin.
but,
Like a penguin. Yeah.
But,
so
other than that, no. But I do enjoy what comes with it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there is a festival in the air during Oktoberfest.
I agree. And there's 600,000 people come into the region as well.
Is that the figure now?
I don't know. I hear that every year, and I think, come on. I mean, there's lots of people that come in. Yeah, where are they parking? That's right. Where are they staying? There's 600,000 open hotel rooms. No, it's a great event, obviously, and I do like this food, the food element of it. I don't know, it's corny and it's kind of odd, but I get this little twinge that I gotta have Oktoberfest sausage and the sauerkraut and some mashed potatoes with honey, with a special sort of honey garlicky kind of mustard that you put on it.
And my personal heritage is German Hungarian, right? So any excuse to eat schnitzel and
it's a little far from my heritage,
yes.
but I think there's probably some northern Italians that were pretty close to the sort of the alpine regions of Italy, where there was some.
I think it's just called
cutlets.
Cutlets,
in
maybe.
Maybe
it's cutlets, it's schnitzel,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I do like it. You're right. I think it does bring a lot of energy and positive kind of fun into the city and downtown Kitchener. Right as we speak, there's a Midway, and there's some.
It was packed yesterday with the strongman
very
competition.
Strong. Yeah, so a lot of good stuff.
Friday, the tapping of the keg, the downtown was just packed. So obviously having this great weather gets the festival off to a great start. It's going to be super tomorrow.
It's a great weekend for Thanksgiving and the parades and all that. I think the Iron Chef thing at this was the Conestoga College event where they were raising money for their scholarships, and I think 570 News, 96.7 Chime, and Kicks were sponsors, and it was a great event. There was about 300 or more people there, I would estimate.
And at the first year for the event.
And the first year for the event, yeah. And at the big hall down there at Bigamans.
Marshall Hall.
They had
really renovated.
8 to 9 restaurants locally that were cooking up one particular meat product, and that was pork. And every restaurant did a different kind of dish.
So that was the secret ingredient.
That was sort of the secret ingredient. Yeah, it wasn't exactly like an Iron Chef. Like there was no sort of competition time, but there was judging. There was some judging, and there was some winners. But everybody had a good time. And the thing I liked about it was sort of a grazing kind of thing. You didn't sit at a formal set table. You grazed. You went to the different stations.
Or marché style.
Yeah, and then you could meet and talk to people. And it seemed like there was a lot of energy in the room. And we did little live interviews with the chefs as they were cooking. And culinary students at Conestoga College were there as the team helping the executive chef or whoever it was from
each of the restaurants.
Wildcraft or hogtails. So yeah, it was great. It was a lovely event, and it was. Like you say, for first time, it's amazing that they pulled that together so nicely. And I think it bodes well for, all of our food components. That is, you've got, restaurants, and you've got people that are supporting those restaurants, and you've got great producers out in the hinterlands, cooking up or preparing vegetables and meats and all that other kind of stuff. And then you've got this culinary school,
right, the up-and-coming
chefs, and creating this dining and food culture, deepening it, I guess, in the region. So. Hey, it was good. It was a good time. So that's for Oktoberfest. Now, I should just point out that in keeping with the sort of the fall and the fair season, it is the 161st. Can you believe that? The 161st Erin Fall Fair during this Thanksgiving weekend. And it's obviously started October 7th, goes to October 10th tomorrow. And there's a lot of great stuff going on there. Erin is sort of, I guess, in between, Orangeville and Georgetown, sort of almost sort of north of...
Or near Guelph.
Near-ish Guelph. Lots of events going on tomorrow that I'll tell you about. They've got lots of stuff for the kids, which is great to see. There's children's cookie decorating that's coming up. There's talent showcases. There's quilts. There's reptiles on display. Cindy Cook from Polka Dot Door.
I do remember Cindy Cook.
But the question is...
Will Polkaroo be there?
Polkaroo.
The Polka Dot Door. The Polka Dot Door. See you soon at the You can stop me anytime.
That's kind of like the starting of this show with some of this random song starts. No, I think the Polka Dot was lovely. I had forgotten that little tune. Yeah. But Cindy Cook will be there. Is that the original?
I think it is. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Polkaroo must be very old then too. They've got lots of great stuff. There's beer tents. There's a chili. That's not for the kids, of course. There's a cooking chili cook-off, so you have a competition for chili. There's lawn and tractor garden pulls. There's a Canadian Cowgirls precision drill team. There's livestock tents and poultry shows. So all of that's going on starting at 9 o'clock tomorrow. I mean, it's going on today in the afternoon. You'd be a little bit hard-pressed to get there.
But first you have to go to the Thanksgiving Day parade for the Oktoberfest
of course,
parade,
right? Okay,
so.
yeah. But if
then head out
Okay,
there.
But for our listeners that wouldn't be coming into the city for that, which is always very popular. It's one of the great parades of Canada, I think, this Oktoberfest parade.
It's broadcast across the country.
Yeah, it's beautiful, yeah. So there you go. If that's not your thing, if you can't make the parade and you're in the Erin neighborhood, then be sure to check out the 161st.
Lots to do on this gorgeous
Erin
weekend.
Fall Fair. Yeah, it's great. Wonderful. Now it's not. What do you call it? Maple syrup time. It's not maple syrup time in any stretch of the imagination. But they've just done a study that was published just recently.
Who are they?
Well, they.
Just they.
Studiers.
Okay.
Studiers
of things.
Study, yeah. It's actually Dr. Kiko Abe from the University of Tokyo's Graduate School of Agriculture and Life Sciences. He put together a study that found that healthy laboratory rats fed a diet in which their carbohydrates were replaced by 100% pure Canadian maple syrup yielded significantly better results in liver function tests than control groups fed a diet with a syrup mix containing similar sugar content but without the beneficial compounds of maple syrup. Now, I want to check to see that the Maple Syrup Association isn't funding this study, but
and it has to be Canadian maple syrup. It can't be from northeastern United States or anything like that.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Okay,
Canadian.
here it is. Here, I'm reading a little further. The Federation of Quebec Maple Syrup Producers says the study results will be published in the November 2011 issue of Bioscience, Biotechnology, and Biochemistry. The scientists say the study results are important as most healthy individuals take their liver function for granted. And according to the Canadian Liver Foundation, there are more than 100 liver diseases affecting approximately 1 out of 10 Canadians, including men, women, and children. So I think that's kind of nice to hear.
I've always known maple syrup to be healthier, the healthiest sweetener that you could use.
But you didn't know that there was an association or correlation between that and healthy liver function, did you?
Of course I did.
Well, anybody that can just pull out the words to the Polka Dot Door at a moment's notice must be brilliant.
Not at all.
No, I think you're right. That is a good substitute for sweetener. But isn't it neat that these kind of studies happen in Canada? And maple syrup is huge in this country. We're going into the dormant period, obviously, of maple syrup. But I think in the spring, when it starts running again, this is a good reason for us to run out and eat and drink more of it and use it as
any
a
excuse we can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit more, and I wanted to tell listeners that I'm really, really interested in hearing if you've got any turkey disasters. It would be really kind of fun to have you call in And we'll set this up. But you call us at 570-2545 or star 570 on your cell later in the program, after the break, to tell us a little bit about your turkey disasters. I would love to hear about turkey disasters. This is a big day. These are important.
There's a lot of pressure on the cooks.
Yeah. There is, and this is one of those key family times. It's like Christmas, and in many say in the United States, Turkey Day is bigger than Christmas. I mean, it's the kickoff to Christmas, really, isn't it? It's later in the year, and it's the Black Friday, I think it's called. I think it's Black Friday, which is the kickoff of the sort of Christmas shopping season, and they're just nuts, and there's huge travel happens at Thanksgiving. I don't think it's as big in Canada, but what's nice about it is it's tame and it's sort of family oriented and it's not so hyped and stuff. But there's still, like you say, a lot of pressure and a lot of people.
It has to be the right sides have to go along with the turkey.
Right sides.
The right sides. Don't try to mix that up at all.
Yeah. Well, that's what we want to talk to people about. Are there things like, don't forget the cranberries? I mean, that's probably one of the things that happens. People forget things, or they leave things out. But those are not as bad. Those are not as bad as some of the more, bona fide disasters where fires start.
Where it was truly ruined.
Yeah, where it was truly ruined. Yeah, and it's like what's the Chevy Chase movie where. It's a Christmas movie, but there's the Christmas turkey gets completely decimated and
he sticks a fork in it,
and it just deflates because it's so dry. Yeah. That's the kind of thing we want to hear about. We want to hear if you had Chevy Chase at your house and he cooked the turkey badly. No, what are your turkey disasters? What are some of the Turkey Day disasters? Did you forget the cranberries, or was it much more hardcore than that and turned out to be oven fires?
You ended up going out to dinner.
You had to
somewhere.
go out for dinner. Yeah. That's right. And I think there's a lot of places that offer Thanksgiving dinner just for that reason. You can let the cooking go to the professionals, and you can enjoy the afternoon with your family at a restaurant. Well, so we'll call. So sit by your phone, and we'll call for your calls to come in and tell us your turkey disasters. So start putting those great stories together, because we'd love to hear from you here on the Food Show. Now, it's just about time for us. Didn't that first segment go fast? We've already had a break time right now. We've got because that's the song. That tells us it's break time.
Oh.
Craig, our operator, is... Yeah, well, we could do the polka dot door, but Craig always gives us a little bit of this is little funky music playing now. This is the Food Show. I am Andrew Coppolino, along with companion here. We do have to take a short break, but come back, because we do want to talk about some turkey disasters here on the Food Show. You're listening to 570 News.
This
I'm liking it. No. This is performed by William P. Hitchery of Pop Poppins.
What?
Oh my. Yeah, well, okay, there we go. Okay. That ought to put you in the mood, I think.
You weren't already, now you are.
Yeah, and welcome back to the show, and what a way to be welcome back. We want to thank our operator, Craig, for doing that. Companion, joining me here in the studio, and we're on 570news.com, and you click on the webcast button, and you can view on the internet if you don't want to be listening in your radio or your via automobile, or however you're listening to the show.
If you're a more visual person.
Right, a more visual person, yeah. And you want to see our turkey disasters, because our TV guy, Greg, who's running the show here from the visual aspect of it, will be throwing up some interesting turkey images.
Apparently, turkey disasters run in his family.
Apparently, he's got quite so many of them.
He's got quite an album.
He's got generations of them, a genealogy of turkey disasters. Now, I want to tell people that Thanksgiving is a time for close family and all that kind of stuff, but it's also a time for good food and good fun. And you have a lot of fun at Thanksgiving.
I love Thanksgiving. Yeah. I do. Yeah, and always a turkey. When anybody asks me, are you having a turkey for Thanksgiving? I kind of look at them dumbfounded. Is there any other meat to have at Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I was at a Thanksgiving yesterday, and there was ham, but there was also a turkey, because you always seem to have the turkey. So now, what about disasters, though? Have you had turkey disasters?
I haven't personally experienced a turkey disaster. I know my mother had a good one year where she was hosting Thanksgiving and was doing the day before preparation, and her oven died.
Oh.
And this is on the Sunday before the Thanksgiving Monday.
That would have been hard to correct.
Yes. So I think they ended up going to an appliance store and just buying the on the floor scratch and dent oven.
Just to get them through?
Just so they could have an... And my mother was very disappointed. Of course, she knew the oven was going to die eventually. She was looking forward to getting a new gas...
A nice new oven.
Stainless steel gas stove. She ended up buying a scratch and dent at some local
That's a good story. It doesn't really have to
yeah.
do so much with the turkey, but the whole disaster possible with the event of the day, yeah.
Right. Because none of us really realized what had happened, but she didn't have a real fun time.
No, I guess not. No. That's a good one, though. I don't think I've ever heard
That's more like a near disaster.
Near disaster, yeah.
Because the turkey could have been in the oven when it died.
Well, let's hear about your disasters. Please call 519-570-2545. That's 570-2545 or star 570 on your cell, because I'd like to hear what your turkey disasters have been. And Companion and I will... we'll sort of comment with you and commiserate and let you know what can...
Stifle our laughter.
Yeah, stifle our laughter, that's right. So 570-2545, tell us what your turkey disasters are, and, we'll sort of laugh at you like Companion said.
But don't let us take you away from your current preparations for Thanksgiving, because we don't want a disaster to result.
That's true. One of the things that is really important with Thanksgiving and turkeys is the gravy. Now,
I agree.
Gravy can be sensitive for people. I mean,
But you may not know this about me.
Oh,
Andrew.
no, I don't. Maybe
I am the gravy maven.
The gravy maven.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
yes.
pray.
That's my new
tell.
Twitter handle.
Well, is it
actually? Yes, it's gravy maven.
What is a gravy maven, and what makes you so good to think you're a gravy maven?
I don't know. There's my family worship the gravy.
Yeah.
It's a very important part of the Thanksgiving and Christmas meal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just become my responsibility with my partner's family. Then there's no one there who really knows how to make gravy. So now I make the gravy for that side of the family as well. So I come along with my tool belt.
You take this little show on the road, do you?
Yes.
Well, let's go through some of those steps then. Here's my perception of gravy is that it's you've got a bird in the oven, and it's in the... It was a lot different than a bun in the oven, but you got a bird in the oven, and you pull it out, and in the tray is the beginnings of your gravy.
It's a mixture of some...
It's not a can.
No, there's no... Oh, Andrew, no, there's no
gravy,
can involved.
Gravy heresy for the gravy maven?
Yeah, I don't even know why they sell cans of gravy.
Okay. Because it's really pretty easy.
It is very easy to make
gravy.
So
just give us your... Yeah.
While
we're waiting for gravy disasters, 570-2545.
Gravy disasters now?
Sure, yeah, why not?
Okay.
570-2545. What's your turkey/gravy disaster? And while you're telling us about
so you pull the bird out, and you have the beautiful, the bottom of the pan is filled with some crispy bits.
Yeah, crispy bits.
And some...
Technical culinary term.
And some fat.
Yeah,
and juice.
Nothing wrong with fat.
So if you're an experienced gravy maker, you have at the ready your separator.
Okay, gravy separator.
So you can pour everything that's in there. You pour into the separator, which will mean the fat will rise to the top and the juice stays at the bottom.
Uh-huh.
So then you pour back some of the fat into the pan, and you sort of you scrape up the brown bits, and then
because you're really basically removing them from the being stuck on the bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where all the flavor comes from. Right? So you're laughing at me while
No,
I'm telling
not.
you.
I'm hungry. I'm getting hungry.
Okay. So you pour back some of the fat, and then you basically make a roux. So then to that you add the flour. You make a bit of a paste with the flour and the fat in the bottom of the pan. Cook that a little bit to get the flour taste out of it.
Yeah, you want to cook it down for a little while, right? Okay.
Right. And then you just start to add your liquid back. So if you have some liquid that is in the separator, it's at the bottom.
Yeah.
You pour that back in.
And the fat stays out. You want a little bit of fat
Of
still,
course you
right?
want
Yeah.
some of the fat.
Now, what about the giblets? Do you do anything with those? When you get your bird, it's packed full of the...
Well, you're going to need a little bit more fluid than what comes out of the pan. So you want something ready. So turkey broth or something. So what I do is when the turkey arrives, it has the little package of giblets and neck and everything inside the cavity.
Yeah.
Make sure you take that out. That could be a turkey disaster. Some people have forgotten to take that special little package out of the inside of the bird.
Who wants the heart in the little
plastic bag.
Paper bag they have.
So make sure that comes out.
Right.
Avert disaster by taking that out. And then what I do is I boil all that just with an onion and some celery and stuff. It's just really rough chop.
Yeah. Okay.
And that creates a bit of a broth that you can then use to loosen up your gravy.
Right. And you can use commercial, or if you have some chicken stock already made, or commercial stuff that's low in sodium and isn't too phony. And that can fill it up, because I guess the problem is sometimes whether you get enough gravy.
Yes. Well, you can cheat. If there's not enough fat from the bird, then you can add in some vegetable oil, so you get more fat.
Okay. Yeah.
And then just add the flour and then just keep adding the liquid. So you can cheat a bit and get a bigger yield that way.
What about the color of it? I mean, is it something that comes up sometimes as a sort of a pallid white,
sort of like American sausage gravy?
American sausage gravy,
which is the most
horrifying,
awful thing I've ever seen. But the color is important because you eat with your eyes first, right? So if you don't have enough brownings from the bottom of the pan, you're laughing at me again. If you don't have enough brownings.
Yeah, I like that. Eat with your eyes first. Where did you ever hear that?
I don't know. I listen to the food show. So if you don't have enough brownings, then your gravy is going to be this sort of pasty white. So that's what there's a secret ingredient.
Okay, secret ingredient.
Which is, what's it called? That brown stuff, the coloring that you can put into your gravy. It's something, bonnet? No, I don't know what it is. But you can buy it in any grocery store.
All right.
And it adds some color to it.
And you only need like drops.
Oh, gosh, like a little bit just to darken it a little bit. So it doesn't change the flavor at all. It just and it's a natural product. It's not food coloring.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So you're serious though that you take this tour on the road, do you?
I do.
You actually have done this.
I now travel with my little
whisk.
Because inevitably someone's going to say, Aubrey, it's time to make the gravy. And
who's Aubrey?
Hey you. It's time to make the gravy, and I get called upon. So now I make sure I have my tools at the ready.
Okay, let's move away from the. I don't come from a turkey background. I mean, turkey was not. I mean, they made it, but it was sort of. Well, I shouldn't say that. My parents and the family made good turkeys, but the stuffing was not a traditional stuffing. It was a little bit. It was a little bit different.
Controversial, isn't it?
So what do you do with stuffing, turkey stuffing?
Mine's a very traditional bread stuffing that has been in the family for years, and once again, it's expected.
Very sort of down home kind of basic traditional.
And I'm not allowed to change it.
Okay.
So
are you allowed to divulge what you do?
Oh, it's very easy.
Okay, take us through.
It's as easy as the gravy.
It's as easy as gravy, and the rest is gravy. So what's
you start with a half a pound of butter.
Okay, that helps a lot, doesn't it?
You're off to a good start with a half a pound of butter.
No one's going to complain about that.
You melt that down, and you chop up an onion, and chop up several stalks of celery, and you cook those in the butter till they are translucent.
Yes. Okay.
And then you add your dried bread cubes,
right? Which you can make yourself or buy from the store if you want to make for ease. But it's nice to make your own too.
Right, and you season that with poultry seasoning and sage, and then you add broth. If you've made the turkey broth in the morning, you can use some of that to add some moisture to.
Here's the question:
What?
In the bird or out of the bird?
I used to do it in the bird, and but if you have it in the bird, then you have to get the internal temperature of the bird up higher, right, for food safety purposes.
CFIA food safety purposes.
And then your bird dries out, right?
It draws the moisture into
it. So a clever friend of mine named Helen once told me that she makes her stuffing in a crock pot. So you can make a larger yield. Again, it's all about yield.
You can get a big bulk of it rather than just a little cavity of the
bird. Right. So I now cook it in a crock pot, oddly enough.
That's brilliant.
Right, because you still get the turkey juices because you've made the turkey broth.
Right, yeah.
And then you cook it for a couple hours, and that also it frees up
space, and you don't have to worry about excavating it out of the bird cavity when it comes time to carve and well, those are some good ideas, and they sound darn good as well, I must say.
Yes.
I must say. I have to thank you for your gravy and your stuffing insights. Now, you know what? It seemed like we didn't get anybody to call in about gravy turkey disasters.
Either they're embarrassed.
Or there aren't any, and they're all brilliant turkey cookers out there.
I know one other disaster that I've heard.
What's
happened to a friend of mine.
Okay.
Hey,
well,
you know those newfangled electronic or those digital ovens?
Yeah, newfangled.
Newfangled.
Yeah.
Yes. Where the timer is digital, and of course the setting the temperature is digital, and the buttons are and so a friend of mine was responsible for cooking the turkey. So he put the turkey in the oven, set the digital temperature.
Okay.
Then he set the digital timer. And then he decided he was going to go out for a few hours and take his dogs out for a walk. So he thought, well, I'll turn the timer off. I'll just keep track on my watch of how many hours.
Okay.
Well, in doing so, he actually turned off the oven.
Ooh, that's bad. That's
and
really
went
bad.
away for a few hours.
And when he came
back,
he should have had a house that smelled of great turkey, but
I think
nothing.
Yeah, he walked in and waiting for that smell, and there was nothing, and he had a raw turkey in the oven, and guests beginning to arrive.
He must have panicked.
Can you imagine?
Wow. And on top of it, you could have been there to help make the gravy.
Oh, no brownings.
No brownings. Oh,
yes.
dear.
Yeah.
Well, they're okay. So we did get our share of turkey disasters.
I did.
Thanks to Companion.
Yes.
We appreciate that. Now, we have a chore to do coming up in this next segment because you and I visited a new Kitchener restaurant, and I think the Kitchener restaurant is on the move, on the growth. It's getting, there's more activity in downtown Kitchener in general, and this is just another great addition to what's happening in the downtown. And we're going to come back and talk about that because it's called Marisol, and it's kind of funky. It's got some history and some background to it, and we'll be talking about that when we come back to the food show. So thank you, Companion, for joining us, and we'll look forward to hearing your comments about Marisol. This is the Food Show. I am Andrew Coppolino, and we'll be back right after this break. You're listening to 570 News.
Eat. You might as well find out where the best food is. From restaurant reviews to the fun of food from around the region to around the world. This is the Food Show with Andrew Coppolino on 570 News.
5 little turkeys standing at the door. 1 waddled off and then there were 4. 4 little turkeys sitting near a tree. 1 waddled off and then there were 3. 3 little turkeys with nothing to do. 1 waddled off and then there were 2. 2 little turkeys in the morning sun. 1 waddled off and then there was 1. 1 little turkey better run away, for soon it will be Thanksgiving Day.
I was afraid that's what that was leading to.
I knew when I started with the
countdown.
Yeah, I knew. Okay, first of all, we got to go all the way through with this. Well, thank you, Craig, who dreams up these songs. I don't know where he gets them from, but he gets them up here, and we want to thank our operator for doing that. We have on the docket here now, Companion, a new restaurant in the town of Kitchener, and it's in the downtown. And we were both as aficionados and as supporters of good restaurants and unique restaurants. We're glad to see this one arrive. It's called Marisol Restaurante, and that's a new Spanish, Iberian, I guess, kind of restaurant on Ontario Street, replacing what was for a long time Classico's, which was a Mediterranean, with a Portuguese dominance, I guess, on the menu. So Marisol is a brand new restaurant with just only a few weeks. We sort of thought we should wait a little while before we weighed in on what's happening there and everything. But we thought at the same time, this is an important part of the year, and it's good to get people interested in restaurants early and get them toward Christmas and all that kind of stuff. So we went ahead and ventured in. Yeah, we ventured in, and well, I think overall we were pleasantly surprised. And
it's completely different inside.
Yeah, they really did.
They have spared no expense to make that just a beautiful, comfortable place to have a meal. And the washrooms, if the old ones weren't great, the new ones are fantastic and worth visiting for. So.
I didn't get into the washroom.
No,
I'm glad you did. Now you've been there for lunch as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I had been there before we actually went on our official visit. So. Which was good as well.
Let's talk about the exterior of it. I think there's some misconceptions, I guess, maybe that you want to.
Well, we want to make sure that people go in. It certainly is worth visiting, and the front of the facade of the new restaurant is rustic.
It almost looks like it's under construction.
It almost looks like it's under construction, and the problem is that there is construction also going on right out in front of it, and it's part of the Halls Lane project. So. There's a risk that people will.
Was that the Halls Lane projects? Do we have the projects in downtown Kitchener? Oh, okay,
right. So there's a risk that new visitors might think that it's closed because the windows are tinted as well.
Yeah.
So do give the door a tug and go on in.
Yeah, I guess that was sort of one of the disappointments. I mean, I like the looks of it. I have to think about it. It takes a little bit more intellectualizing, I guess. But I remember the previous restaurant had a sort of a dark exterior. You couldn't really see it. And I've always been an advocate that if you open up that front and you get some light in there and you show people it at the restaurant and eating there, it sort of creates that there's something there. You look in and you sort of trying to figure out if it is open. But yes, it is open, and do go in. And on our official visit, as you put it, the service staff was right there to greet us and got us to our seats in a very professional and quick way, efficient.
No, it was the service was very good, and the decor when you first walk in is beautiful, and they have in their sort of entryway they have a candle, which I imagine is some traditional perhaps. I think the owner of this restaurant has a lot of experience with Spain,
Spanish culture,
Spanish culture, and so there's a candle that's burning on a chair, and it's obviously one of 100 candles.
I think it's going to be a Salvador Dali kind of thing where the candle wax is going to drip down. It's like that whole clock kind of dripping.
So the first feast for the eyes and nose and is the smell of the candle, which is nice, and as you make your way into the restaurant.
How would you describe the decor? I mean, it's got a vast difference from the previous restaurant, as you said. It's very comfortable, and I think you can go in dressed up. If you've come from the theater, for example, and are dressed up more than usual, you won't be out of place. Nor would you be out of place if you showed up in jeans. No tablecloths, so it's comfortable and relaxed from that perspective. Some dark wood, some interesting baffling, I guess, that sort of separates sections of the restaurant. There's a private diving room in the back. Yep. Local art on the wall, too, is a thing that we want to keep in mind. He's a supporter of local artists, so there's local art on the wall, which is kind of neat. So there's a lot of good stuff going on. As for the food, Jeff Ward is the chef, and he is also a former cook at Langdon Hall, and he's been in the Oliver and Bonacini chain of restaurants that's in Toronto, Jump, and Auberge de Pommier. At lunchtime, I guess the prices are a little bit moderate. They're a little bit higher, as you might expect, during dinner. Now, what happens, too, is there's this sort of add-on feature that I'm not quite sure whether I agree with, but I mean, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they're finding their feet in what works and what doesn't. But you get $24 worth of shrimp, but it's only shrimp. And then you have to add a side to that.
It's almost a throwback to the old steakhouse idea where you would buy your piece of meat, and if you didn't order anything on the side, you would just get a piece of meat on your plate. So you have to order your mushrooms or your mashed potatoes in the case of a steakhouse. In this case, you can order linguine, or I can't recall what the other sides were.
Potatoes.
But so that's different. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
How did you feel about the shrimp, though? Because you did eat it, and it was a generous portion.
Very generous portion of shrimp.
Nicely cooked.
Nicely cooked with paprika and some garlic, and I had asked them to get the garlic down, which they did nicely, and still the flavor was there. So it was very nice, a very nice bowl of shrimp. But had I not ordered a side of linguine, I would have just had a bowl of shrimp in front of me, and that's a bit different.
We sort of jumped ahead a bit because we did have some appetizers too, and I started off with a charred octopus, which I think is sort of a carryover from what Classicos used to do quite well was their octopus, and it was served on an served on an arugula salad, so that bitterness kind of was nice. Some roasted garlic, some marinated peppers and olives. The octopus was excellent, I thought. It was excellent. I mean, you have to cook our octopus very quickly, or you have to cook it over a slow period of time, so you get the right tenderness quality. And I really liked this one. It had some very good flavor, and it had some very nice char to it too, which is nice. And you had you stayed in the fish realm
salad.
as well.
Yeah, smoked trout salad. It had the same arugula, the bitter greens, and some avocado and tomato as well, and it was very good. I should say on my previous visit for my lunch there, I had enjoyed a scallop ceviche. Also had some avocado and tomatoes, and that was very nice as well. So their salad offerings are very fresh and very nice.
And I had a linguine, which I guess was like the linguine that you had for your side, and I had clams in mine, double smoked bacon, very nice, smoky but sweet, and a little bit of chili. There's a little bit of bite to it. It was quite zesty actually, with white wine and olive oil sauce. Very, very good. The clams were cooked perfectly. I like the linguine because it wasn't a packaged stuff. It was a freshly made from somewhere. I'm not sure they make it there, but it was a nice, fresh, soft linguine. And I thought if you put the two dishes together, right, your shrimp with my linguine, you'd have a nice combination there. So I do think they need to figure out maybe a better way to do that side thing. So that you
they are taking pride in changing the menu actually.
Regularly,
they feel that week to week they'll have a different menu. So some of what we've spoken about here may not be available to anybody else that follows us in there. But I think it's it's all well executed.
Pretty good wine list. I mean, you won't find wines, at the LCBO here. There's a lot of consignment kind of wines, so a different pathway for you to travel when it comes to ordering wines, and obviously some good Spanish wines too, because it is Spanish based to the restaurant. We're talking about Marisol Restaurant on Ontario Street with Companion, a new restaurant that's just opened up here in Kitchener. So overall, I think the service was acceptable. The decor was beautiful. They got some great ideas that they're doing with food, and a good chef there working.
We're not going to wrap this up without talking about the dessert, are we?
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh. So gee, I forgot.
What's that called? It was so good.
Churros. I don't know how to pronounce it. Churros, I think. And it's like a donut, I guess, but it's a long, skinny donut, and it's deep fried, and there's sugar rolled on the outside, and then the inside when it gets cooked, it sort of turns into a creamy kind of pasty.
And then drizzled on top.
The top was dulce de leche, that kind of caramel cream, I guess, basically. Yeah. Those were very good. How did I forget those?
I don't know. I was.
But they also have the classic creme caramel dish where it's like a brulee, only it's kind of like upside down, and then there's a nice drippy sauce that goes with it. But those churros are good. What you're recommending is that people just go in there in the middle of the afternoon at 3 o'clock for their espresso coffee and churros, and get through the rest of the afternoon.
And their coffee are freshly roasted beans, and then enjoy these little donuts.
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot. How could I forget those? But you're absolutely right. So I mean, that's probably the best way we can sum this place up, can't we? The churros. It's certainly a restaurant I think that's welcome in the downtown too,
yes.
isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we really need another good restaurant like this. Lovely sign out front, very creative, and they've really thought about what they want to do in there, and they've thrown, I would say, quite a bit of money to make it look nice.
They've
inside.
made quite a big investment in the restaurant in the downtown, so I think we in turn all need to visit the restaurant.
Let's support it, and let's make it even better dining in downtown Kitchener. So that's Marisol Restaurante, 30 Ontario Street in Kitchener. The phone number is 519-954-5336, 954-5336. Marisol Restaurante with an E on the end, restaurante.ca. Now, assessing food, atmosphere, service, and prices, dining out restaurant reviews, and tasting notes on the food show are based on anonymous and unannounced visits to the establishments. Our restaurants do not pay for any portion of the reviewer's meal. And I appreciate that you've come in today, Companion, to tell us a little bit about your thoughts on this restaurant. It was a pleasure to dine there with you.
Yes. Well, we don't dine as often as we should.
It's a busy time.
Okay.
Companion. It's a busy time. We'll get there.
I think you've been dining.
We'll get there.
Have
I been?
Yes,
okay.
Been. I've been listening.
Oh, you've been listening. Well, thank you. Yeah, that's true. What we've been doing, to be fair, is we're doing a sort of a sister radio station cross hybridization promotion thing where I'm visiting with other personalities like George and Tara from Chime, and
I know.
Oh, you know,
yes.
and Lisa Drew and Glenn Peltier, the morning news anchors here at 570.
If I didn't know and like all those people so much, I might be a little bit more put off.
Well,
but yes.
Okay, let's get out of here. I'm getting uncomfortable. We do have to take a break. Thanks again for joining us.
It was my pleasure.
It was a pleasure to see you here again, and you'll stick around. We want one more segment we got to get through.
Okay.
All right. That's Companion. I'm Andrew Coppolino. This is The Food Show, and you're listening to 570 News.
Now back to The Food Show with Andrew Coppolino on 570 News.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy Thanksgiving to you. This wish goes out to everyone. Thanks for all you do.
That had to have been a chipmunk.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think so. And then, of course,
yes,
Arn Prosit,
of
You Meet the Kite, Walter Ostamak Band. Welcome back to The Food Show.
I saw Walter the other day. Yes,
yeah, how's he looking?
He looks great.
Yeah?
He hasn't changed a bit. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad to hear
and he
it.
plays a mean accordion. What more can I say?
Yeah, well, it's a great time of the year.
It
Thanksgiving and Oktoberfest.
And when the weather's like this.
We're so lucky. Yeah, and I'm so lucky to have you here. Thank you for joining us on
trying to make
The
up
Food
for
Show.
not
Taking out dinner too much. Okay, sorry about that. Hey, there's a lot of great things coming up. But you know, this is really interesting to me because I want to try to get this guy on the phone here, Colonel Peanuts. Craig, can we get Colonel Peanuts on the phone? Yeah, this is funny. I want to try this out and see what happens. While we're trying to do that,
If it doesn't work, I'm right here for you.
Yeah, right here, yeah. The Waterloo Region Food and Drink Expo is coming up on November 24-26. It's in...
You must dial 1 or 0 plus the area.
Okay, so we have to figure that one out first there. We're trying to get... The Waterloo Region Food and Drink Expo at the Kitchener Market, brought to you by the Kitchener Market and the downtown Kitchener BIA, is happening on the 24th and 26th of November. It's a Grand River Shows production, and it's sponsored by The Record, Taste, Grand Magazine, Coddles Catch, Kicks 106, 96.7, and 570 News. It's got cooking seminars and demonstrations, celebrity guests, live entertainment.
Are
music,
you going to be there?
Well, I'm going to go and I'm going to show. Yeah, I'll show up. Yeah, I don't know if I'm doing anything else there. There's going to be goodie bags. There's going to be food and drink tasting and pairing seminars. And here we go. Let's see if we can get them on the air here. It's number 2. Ring number 2. What was the show that used to do that?
1 ringy dingy, 2 ringy dingy.
Oh, well, I hadn't thought of that. Then this has nothing to do with Thanksgiving. It has to do with...
Hello, you've reached Colonel Peanuts.
So it's an answering machine there.
Oh, that's too bad.
The name of the company is Colonel Peanuts, and I was hoping the Colonel would be in. Can I speak to Colonel Peanuts, please? And it's not that. It's not
all
spelled
this
like
work
that.
just for that moment, and now the moment is
lost.
lost.
I ruined it all, didn't I? Yeah, it's Colonel Kernal, like a kernel of truth or the kernel of corn. And it is a peanut company get this, it's in Ontario. It's just I guess it's just south of Simcoe, in the Simcoe area. There are peanuts grown. I mean, we have lots of peanuts in this region, actually, I think, because Picard peanuts. But I'm not sure where those peanuts come from. I think they're sold here. I don't know that they're grown here. But they've discovered in the 70s that the Valencia peanut are very well suited to prime sandy soils of the area around Simcoe. Today, the farm there grows up to 150 acres of delicious peanuts, which are processed on site for their wholesale, corporate, retail, and other uses. They have roasted in-shell peanuts, red skin peanuts, which I really, really like, salted, unsalted, garlic, barbecue, sour cream, onion. You're looking at me with sort of a blank look, companion. Are peanuts not important to you?
I try to make the. Well, okay, now I can make an Oktoberfest connection. Actually.
Oh, really? Peanuts in your
I was
stuffing?
searching for the connection about what this had to do with.
Oh, come
with
on,
Thanksgiving,
you know this show. We don't make those kinds of.
Okay.
Smart.
I was looking for logic, and there wasn't.
No, there isn't any. Well, what's your connection?
Oktoberfest, peanuts, beer.
I see.
I was
Oktoberfest,
searching.
right? Okay, not Thanksgiving. I'm trying to make a Thanksgiving connection. Could you put
It wasn't
peanuts in your
working.
stuffing?
No.
No. Okay, you can't.
It wasn't working.
Now, but did you know, this is the thing about these Colonel Peanuts, they're located at Fishers Glen Road, RR1, Victoria, Ontario. And you can visit them by going to CanadianPeanuts.com. Peanuts are cholesterol-free, and they're a great source of energy. Apparently.
They're very good for you. Very caloric.
Do you know what?
What?
It's time to leave.
Is it?
We've got to go.
Okay.
But thank you for joining me.
It was my pleasure.
You can visit 570news.com for an archive of past shows, and you can follow The Food Show at twitter.com 570food show and read my restaurant review in Echo Weekly each Thursday and my column in the Kitchener Post. Now join us next week because we've got more on The Food Show, including a visit from Jen and Big Country Bill Hart of Kicks 106. We're going to do a little dining with them. Remember, eat wisely and eat well. Thank you for joining us here at The Food Show, and it's only on 570 News.